And that's the great thing about using a bond originator. It's not just limiting you to one option only. You have a host of other options. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is our very first podcast recording. I'm quite excited to be in the room and being able to empower you with some good knowledge and some good nuggets with regards to the different types of home loans we are experiencing in the market presently. I have been around for quite some time, a number of years. It's been 17 years now that I've been a home loan consultant / bond originator, working within this dynamic, ever-evolving, ever-changing finance environment. It has kept me on my toes, but I'm so excited to still be here and still be very much passionate about assisting clients with securing their home loans and, making their dreams a reality in that regard. So I'd just like to chat about, firstly, the very vast different types of home loans that we are seeing on the market presently. And that is, with regards to the different types of banks that we also are engaging with for our finance options that we're securing for our clients. As we know, the major banks are ABSA, Standard Bank, Nedbank, and FNB. We then have Investec, as well as SA Home Loans that we can exclusively assist clients with through the multi-net channel of home loan origination, which is where I'm a partner of. So yes, very proud of that. We've recently been able to establish an exclusive channel with SA Home Loans for bond origination through the multi-net brand and company. And this means more options for our clients, and this means that they'll be able to, satisfy themselves with having more options to making an informed decision, with regards to financing their property purchase. So I've mentioned a few of the banks most of the banks that we work with, and then there's also Sentinel Finance, that we are also able to assist with an additional option in terms of financing their properties. So let me get straight into it. I'd like to unpack here just the various types of home loans. So, of course, we get the ordinary home loans, which is your normal purchase price, that you engage with your seller for either an apartment or you're buying a full title residential property. Right, so that's an ordinary home loan. That's considered just your vanilla basic home type of home loan. All of the banks cater for these properties, and it would basically involve an offer to purchase that you'll sign with the seller, or the estate agent will assist with all of that. And once it's accepted, we would then apply to the various banks that I've mentioned for the best interest rate. So preferably below prime. This is something that we pride ourselves in as bond originators, being able to secure the absolute best interest rate for our clients. This is something that is at the core of the benefits that us as originators add value to you as the buyer, going through your property purchase process. We would then consult with you. If it wasn't a pre-approval that we did and we just, engaged from the time that you signed the offer, we would then engage with you and consult with you on the various paperwork or the various types of paperwork that would be required that is, aligned with your profile for the bank's applications. We would then ask for things like proof of income, proof of your bank statements, the application forms that we would send through to you to request for this to be completed, and we would then guide you through that process. Now, with the application form, very, very, very important. I cannot stress this more enough. There's information that you as the purchaser would perhaps put on that application form that we might find as part of our preparation process for your home loan. it's actually superfluous information. We may not need it. Sometimes people believe there's a misconception that goes around. Let me just tell them everything. Let me just throw everything on this piece of paper, so that I can, obtain the very best outcome. But it's not always the case. Some people, put in grocery expenses as a month that maybe they would have paid more for groceries on this particular month. Maybe you had some more dinners, maybe the entertainment bill was a little bit high, but it's not something that's a contractual expense. It's something that varies month to month, right? So we don't necessarily need to put in, exactly for the past 3 months, what your grocery bill was, purely because it is maybe seasonal related. Maybe, there was a season of birthdays, anniversaries, events, and you spent more on groceries in that particular month. So this is just one aspect of a home loan application when completing it that me as a bond originator can actually unpack with you and, minimize that kind of expense. Fuel expenses as well. Maybe you would have driven more kilometers that month than you usually do. So we unpack all of this, and we, less is more, basically. So less is more in that regard. And this is just one aspect that we can, add value to helping you prepare for the best outcome on your home loan application. So, yes, so we would take in those documents, and then we would see, okay, which of the banks would be best suited to your profile as a client, and where are you aiming to secure the very best rate. Sometimes clients would actually come to me and say, Olin, I'm actually wanting to stay with my bank, the bank that I'm currently banking with. And in this regard, I would then focus purely on meeting you at that objective, at that expectation. And 9 times out of 10, it's not your bank that's offering you the best rate. So what I've got to do then is, once I've got all the options on the table, I will approach all of the banking institutions for you. And once I have all those options on the table, I would then go back to your specific bank and say to them and highlight to them, there's another bank that we've secured a phenomenally lower interest rate in comparison to you, and your client's been banking with you for X amount of years. This is the value of your client. Let's retain her or him, and let's please, step up our game here. So this is the kind of awareness that we would create with the pricing team at the various banks that we work with. And then in doing so, you wouldn't need to move your primary banking profile from your bank that you are familiar with, you are comfortable with, to necessarily another bank. However, if we do find that your specific bank that we've given the opportunity to step up to the plate and give you that great interest rate, if we find that has failed for whatever reason it could be, we would then, offer you the alternative options. And that's the great thing about using a bond originator. It's not just limiting you to one option only. You have a host of other options. So just going back to what I touched on at the start is that we have many banks that we work with, and there's many different types of home loans that we can assist with. So this is your vanilla type of home loan application, where it's just an ordinary property that you're purchasing, and you're applying for, just the purchase price. Then you get a cost-inclusive home loan. So we're finding at the moment, it's so exciting, all the banks are now currently offering a cost-inclusive option for first-time buyers. What this means is that we can secure up to an additional 8 to 9% on top of your property price to actually cover those intensive attorney fees, that forms part of the buying process. And many people, they're still in preparation as first-time buyers. However, it just so happens your lease comes to an end and you find the ideal property that you would love to purchase. Life happens like that. And what the banks are now saying is that they are inviting first-time buyers to come on board, purchase property, they will support us in getting you the attorney fees covered, which involves the transfer costs, which is the seller's attorneys that are appointed to do the transferring process from the seller over to yourself as the purchaser. And then, of course, the bond attorneys, which is the home loan, the bank's attorneys, which are appointed to register the home loan on your name. So those are the fees involved there, and we would then give you a cost quotation. We can actually give you a cost quotation upfront in our consultation of what this looks like. But the nice thing is that we can assist with motivating with the banks to actually load those fees on as a cost-inclusive home loan offering for you. And so that is one other type of home loan that we can assist with. The other type of home loan is geared towards your self-employed applicant. Now, not many of the banks are open to full 100% home loans for business-owned clients. So, clients who own businesses, basically. And these clients are seen as a higher risk because we know that many small businesses, or businesses alike, actually go through fluctuations throughout their financial years. And this would be seasonal, related, or, as and when clients come through the doors, and when we actually are busy as opposed to when we are not as busy. So those fluctuations are what the banks usually attribute to the risk factors, right? There are other risk factors involved, the type of business specifically that you're in. However, these home loans, we have to assess in a different way to a salaried applicant. We have to look at, the holistic picture of how long the business has been operational for, how long has, the income been able to be traced to the bank account. Sometimes, the records were maybe broken up a little bit. There were different bank accounts that were involved. We need that streamlined flow. So just with regards to that, it is a bit complex, but there are companies that we partner with, or institutions that we partner with, that is more geared towards the self-employed client, and that is Sentinel Finance. Yes, the banks that the business account profile is held with also can come into play and actually present us with a more optimal finance approval outcome. We do have those business banks that where the client is actually banking or held their profile for a long extended period of time. We can actually expect better answers from them because there's a lower risk. They've seen the history, they've seen the track record, right? They've been privy to it all. So, we can actually expect better from them. So those are the very different types of home loans. And of course, just one more thing I just needed to touch on is your building loans, your plot and plans. And these type of home loans are where there's a plot involved. It's a vacant piece of land you are buying, and, you are purchasing a contract from a builder as well to build your property from scratch, right? So there's a new development as well where you are not the one that's driving the building project, so to speak. There's a new development property purchase where you are purchasing it off plan, and the developer and the seller is the developer that is going to build this development. It could be a standalone unit in a cluster estate, or it could alternatively be, in a complex, a sectional title scheme. So these are the types of new development loans that the banks actually offer as well. And there are various types of documents that we would request from yourself or from the estate agent or from the developer that you are in conversation with. So with the building loan, it's a little bit more complex. We need, the purchase agreement to the land, as well as the building loan documentation, the engineer certificates, the architectural plans. We would need the NHBRC certificates. This is a council that oversees the workmanship and quality of the building being, erected on your property. And it's just good to have that sound kind of workmanship applied to your property as it progresses through the various stages. And these loans are paid out in progress withdrawals. So in stages, the building loan will be actually dispersed as the bank assessor comes out to view the property as the work unfolds. So yes, so those are the various types of home loans we deal with. As I said, we have an array of banks that we partner with, that we can assist with all these types of home loans for you, and then we can proceed with securing you the very best outcome.